Hello and welcome to Hotbird Hot Topics. My name's Johnny Goodtimes. I am joined by my esteemed co-host and tennis outfit wearer, Adam Booth. Adam, welcome.
Thank you. I feel like, who wears white after Labor Day? This guy right here.
Right, making a point of it. And we are excited to be talking with two members of the Hotbirds today, and also two guys who are vaunted pieces of our youth programming, which we think long-term is going to really change the game here in Philadelphia and across the country. So welcome, Sean Mott. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And Brandon Pastor. Brandon, how are you?
Hi, nice to be here.
Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you. We'll start with you, Brandon. And you have been instrumental in sort of taking this youth program to another level this year. What has been sort of your first year of kind of officially taking the job? Obviously, you've been doing this for years, but what's been your initial takeaway from 2023 in terms of youth programming?
I got to say, the initial takeaway is that there is so much that we can do, and I think we've only scratched the surface here. We started with a brand new winter session. That was the very first thing we did. And then we rolled into our spring and fall and summer programs. And now with this new intramural league, this is kind of like the next thing that I think we're trying to break away with here. So we can really get a whole bunch of kids playing the way that we play. We're doing a new AUDL league rules. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Sean, you were there this past Saturday out in Lane, and curious what you're seeing as a player who's been in the AUDL a while and been around the sport for a while. What's the difference now with the sport with younger people playing it? I know for our team and for a lot of teams in the AUDL, those guys really didn't start playing until high school or even college, and we're seeing more and more young people coming out, 10 years old, 11 years old. What's been sort of the biggest change you think you've seen in the sport since you got involved?
Yeah, I would say just the overall upgrade in disc skills in younger players. A lot of kids, or when I joined like high school, a lot of like young men had like the field sense and the field IQ, but did not have the disc skills. Now these kids are coming in and they have the disc skills already. And, it's more about fitting them into systems and figuring out where they're going to, solve the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. What did you see specifically on Saturday that kind of has you excited? Was there, just seeing these kids at a younger age than the previous generation being this into the sport and being that good already? Is that kind of exciting to watch?
Yeah, definitely. Adam was there too. There was quite a bit of wind there that day, and I swear some of the kids could read the disc better than some of the teammates I've had in the
past. Brandon, you've you've been doing this for the whole of the year, and you talk about just scratching the surface. I mean, what's sort of your vision for 2024 and moving into the future with youth disc, and how do you think it's going to change the AUDL? How do you think it's going to change the Phoenix in the years to come?
The goal, I would say, is to expand. I want to get further out from Philadelphia into more suburbs. We're already in some, but if we can get a couple more and then just keep going. We're trying to get into New Jersey. We might have a Collingswood thing set up in the near future. In terms of the league, so I know there's a couple middle school teams that are popping up now, and there's definitely a lot of high school teams, but we're getting these kids at like third and fourth grade, and they're going to be having a disc in their hands a couple times a week. Their skills, like Mott's saying, they're just going to keep improving. So by the time they get to middle school and high school, they're going to be ready to go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, I have my own, I have a 9-year-old son, and he's that's a sport now. Like gets to see you guys on the weekends, and then he's excited to, and he went to that camp in Center City a few weeks ago with James, and he can't stop talking about getting to throw the disc with James again. So it's kind of a neat opportunity that we have, that we can not only have the guys play on the field, but we've got guys like Sean and you and James who are actual members of the team, and they get to interact, and the kids get to interact with them, and then also see them, on Saturday night. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing that most other leagues don't have that opportunity. Like, as much as we all love Joel Embiid, he's not going to, teach my kid how to shoot free throws. So, like it's a really cool thing that I think that the team has to offer, and I think it's really exciting. It's really exciting moving forward to see where this thing can go. I know we're starting this intramural league, and Brandon, if you can just tell us a little bit more about, sort of the setup for that, and what you hope to get out of that, and how we can build off of that into 2024.
Yeah, sure. This is the only league that I know that is specifically designed for youth and has AUDL rules. So we're going to be doing 4 quarters, timeouts. We're going to be having refs, and we're going to try to get one of our players to coach each of the teams, so they can kind of impart their knowledge and get them started at a young age at this format. We're even going to do double teams. So it's going to be really interesting, and we're hoping to get people more into the AUDL.
Since we're talking AUDL, and while we've got you guys here, I want to talk a little bit about 2023, what you guys' feelings were with the season we just had, what you, how you came away from this past season, and also what you're thinking in terms of 2024. And Sean, I'll start with you. I mean, we've talked about it before. I know there was disappointment not making the playoffs, but also a recognition that this team was better than a team last year that had the same record. So how do you come out of 2023? What's your mindset sort of moving forward, and how do you feel about the team moving into 2024?
Definitely. It's still a growth mindset at the end of the day. I still think there's things that we can build off of. We did things this past year that we didn't do as well when we made the playoffs the year before. We actually had the awards, and we were talking about like the AUDL awards in the group me a little bit today. I wrote a post that like, hey, like New York won a lot of these awards. We're one of the teams who can, put an end to that saga next year if we choose to. So we have to recognize that this year wasn't up to our standards. Our standards have changed now, and hopefully we can live up to our standards next year.
Right. Brandon, your takeaway on 2023, how'd you feel about the overall result?
The result, not too happy. I mean, I'm happy to finish 500, but I agree with Mott. I think we left a lot on the table, and we can work really hard all season, and these games are going to come down to 1 point. We just got to work a little bit more on the details, and I think we win these overtime games against DC and New York next year. Just got to get a little bit into the weeds.
Right. What did you see this year that has you particularly excited for 2024? I mean, I know the emergence of Calvin as a top flight rookie has obviously got to be on that list. He had a great year. What was it that you saw this year, Sean, that, again, like I know the result wasn't exactly what we wanted, but still has you kind of chomping at the bit for 2024?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, as like the O-line captain / leader, the O-line specifically left a lot on the table. So getting back to work, putting in the work in our systems, the trust with our players. Obviously, Calvin was a great addition to our O-line, and that helped a lot. But I would say the highlight and what has me excited for next year would be the defense. Our defense was arguably the best defense in the league, in my opinion. And, I mean, if our offense can pick it up a little bit, it should be a no-brainer to make playoffs.
How about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I agree. Defense worked hard this year. Offense was able to keep it together for all those wins, and I mean, like I said before, just a little more work in the details of, I don't know, maybe maintaining possession on a couple more. We could be 9-12 this season, or even 10-12.
Right. Adam, you got anything? You got anything for these two gentlemen? Well, we've got the rare luxury of having them in the room.
Well, first, I want to point out one of the things I found fascinating about this intramural league was the level of, polish a lot of these kids had already coming into this. And then a lot of kids who are kind of raw, but still have, this ability to, understand a lot of the idiosyncrasies of the game that, it makes it difficult. What Mott was saying in terms of, a lot of these kids were getting the flight of these discs, even in really windy conditions, very well. The timing of their jumps were pretty well timed. I was fairly impressed by the level of talent that's in that area, and even shocked to find out how many local programs have yet to really come to fruition. A lot of school districts, a lot of areas still don't really have been blessed with our sport enough. So, I'm really excited to see what this league and what the youth program is going to do to, spread the good word. But ultimately, it just, when you have a season like that, Sean, when you break down, knowing that you're on the edge and then seeing other opponents maybe not be as competitive as you are this year, it's disappointment, but it's really a motivation, right? It pushes you to that next level, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think a big thing that we've taken away from this is like a mindset change. We would lose those games in years past, like when I first joined the team, and been like, hey, that was great. We were in that game, like good fighting, good try. We lose those games, last year, and we're like, hey, like we let that one slip. That's our fault. They didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. And that mindset change is like great for growth. It obviously can lead to a little infighting, which isn't the best sometimes, but is also needed, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the mindset change is really for growth, and I think we're going to come out hungry next year.
The AUDL awards just came out today, like you mentioned earlier. Babbitt MVP, Antoine won Defensive Player of the Year. I think Ambrose was Rookie of the Year. Looking at those, Sean, I know you and some of the players were passing stuff around. I want to know what your thoughts were on which Hotbirds you thought should have gotten a little bit more love. And we're not arguing with anybody from the league here, but I'm just curious which Hotbirds you would have liked to have seen maybe get a little bit more love in the voting.
Definitely. I think Paul Owens will be forever underrated in this league. He is arguably the best defender in the country and continually gets undervalued in these awards. He made second team all defense, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. And he takes the rowing matchup one week, and then the next weekend he's covering Jack Williams, and all while holding them to, minimal numbers. Max Trafilis obviously had a breakout year this year, and I thought deserved at least some form of recognition for that.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of good rookies this year, but I think the sheer volume that Calvin had probably should land him on the first team. I don't know if there was any other rookie who, I don't know his exact stats, but
right,
he probably had like 500 touches this year.
Yeah. Great year by Calvin. Yeah, it's funny. Like my thoughts were the same when I saw the thing come out. I mean, I've always got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about the anti-Philly bias. So, when I saw Paul not on the first team and I saw Max not on any of them, I was kind of, getting my dander up a little bit. So I totally agree with all those. Well, thanks so much, Sean. Thanks so much, Brandon, for coming on, talking a little bit about the youth programming, talking a little bit about the team. We're excited to work on some other stuff that's going on that we'll be announcing here in the next couple of weeks that we'll be doing with you guys throughout the course of the fall and the winter. So thanks again, guys.
Definitely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Johnny.
Yep. All right. We'll see you later. This has been the Hotbird Hot Topic. We'll see you next time.